the top 30 COD pros of all time. We've all seen the lists from current players, ex-players, analysts, YouTubers, random people on Twitter. The top 30 COD Pro lists have been going on all over the place for the last couple months. Some people love them, some people hate them, you either disagree, you agree. There's pretty much no way to get a perfectly accurate representation of the top 30 players. But in today's video, we're going to be using numbers to figure out the top 30 COD pros of all time. Before we get started, make sure to drop a like on this video. This took a ton of research and a ton of effort to make this video happen. So please drop a like. It'd be awesome if we could hit 5 likes on this video, and subscribe for more CDL and Call of Duty competitive related content. I also want to preface that this is not my personal list. None of this was done based on my opinion. This is all based on the numbers, like I said, and using math to figure this out. So this is not how I would do my personal list, at least not exactly. There's definitely people I would change, move around, and just a whole bunch of things that personally I would do differently with this list. But this is based on the numbers. So remember, please don't attack me. This is not my opinion. This is, I mean, one of the things as close to fact as we could possibly get. But like I said, this is not the end all be all for lists. Just because, you know, whoever is at number 1, whoever's at number 5, whoever's at number 15, does not mean that's where they actually fall all time. There's no way to do this perfectly. So do remember that as you watch this video. And if you want, you could skip through the explanation on how I did these rankings and just go right to the top 30. That is totally fine. And with that being said, let's jump into the explanation on how I found out these numbers. Now, I just want to say in advance, this video is probably going to be a little bit long, just because I want to make sure I do it justice and I do it right, and I explain everything as best as I can so you understand my process and then how I rank each individual player. So starting off with the 5 categories in which we rank these players. First category is major wins. This is just your total event wins. Number 2 is COD champs rings. Number 3 is MVPs. Now, MVPs are definitely tougher to find because some events didn't have official MVPs, so I only used the official MVPs that I could find that were actually given out by, you know, the events or by the league itself. Number 4 is top player in each game. I've compiled a list based on a multitude of things, so it could be stats, Reddit posts. I looked at a ton of Reddit posts and community threads to figure out a lot of these things, and I didn't just use one post or one person's opinion. I literally went through dozens of articles on each topic and used dozens and dozens of people's comments to kind of compile what was the most common answer for these things. So for top player in each game, I found a list of about 5 to 6 players that I made for each game, and those players were considered the top players in each game. And then event wins across games is the 5th and final category. This is like, you know, how many different COD games did you win an event in? Pretty straightforward. Now, when it comes down to the scoring factor, like I said, we're using numbers. So for major wins, the way I did it was I took everybody and I listed them out in order from most wins to least wins, and I assigned a point value based on that order. So for Crim6, who we all know is number 1 in event wins, he got 15 points. Scump, who's number 2, got 14 points. Karm, who's number 3, got 13 points. And then it goes all the way down to Hook, Shotzi, Illy, and a bunch of other players got 1 point, which was the final of these people to earn event win points. Next up, we have COD champs rings. Since COD champs is obviously a bigger deal than winning major, like other majors, this was weighted in a different scale where more rings equal more points. So instead of it being like 15, 14, 13, it was 15 for the guys with 3 rings. So we all know Crim, Karma, and Clay. 10 points for the guys with 2 rings, and 5 points for the guys with 1 ring. When it comes to wins across multiple Call of Duty titles, I went through every COD title and I listed out each player if they won an event in that title, and then we totaled them up, and the player with the most wins or with the most wins in a different COD title got 8 points. The player with the second most got 7 points, all the way down until the people with only 1 point. And now for the more individual statistics, which are MVPs and being one of the best players in each game. For MVPs, the way I distributed it was 8 points for the guys with the most, and then it went 6, 4, 2 to the people with only 1 MVP. And then being the best player in a title, like I said, I listed it out all the way, you know, from best players in COD 4 all the way to Black Ops Cold War. Player that was the best in the most games, not necessarily the best, but like a top 5 player. The player that was in the most top 5s across various games got 10 points. Then it went 8, 6, 4, 2, all the way down until the, you know, you understand. So that's that rough overview on how I totaled these points. I tried to balance it out between team success and individual success, because obviously there's players that might not have won any rings or might not have a ton of event wins, but were really, really good individually. And there's also players that were a part of dynasty rosters or were a part of teams that won a lot of events that weren't necessarily the best individually. So the way I calculated these points was in a way that makes those as balanced as it possibly can be, rewarding players that are good individually and good as a team, and obviously good with both of those. So let's start it off right now with our rankings. All the way at the bottom, the guys that were 32 through 26 were actually all tied with 9 points via my rankings. So I had to figure out how to organize this in a way that obviously they can't all be tied, or else we have so many players on this list. So what I did was I did it by event wins. I did count online events in this, so those do also count. But so at 32 and 31, the two guys that just missed out on the top 30 are Hook and Prestini. And then we get into our top 30. Number 30 is Killa. He has 5 total wins in his career, one of those being a COD champs. At number 29, we have Nameless, who has 6 total wins in his career. At number 28, we have Slacked, who has 7 total wins in his career. Definitely an underrated player in COD history. One of the players that I feel like doesn't get a lot of love, especially in recent years since he's been in and out of the league. At number 27, we have Rambo, who has 8 wins in his career. Obviously, he has a pretty good coaching career as well, but that's not counted in this, considering this is just for performances as a player, not as other things. And at number 26, we have Nadeshot with 8 wins in his career. Nadeshot and Rambo both had 8 wins, but being as Nadeshot won across more Call of Duties than Rambo, I put him 1 slot ahead. Just looking at that so far, you can already see the difference between individual players and team players. Whereas Nadeshot might not have had a ton of individual success and never really been the best player in a game, but he still slots in at number 26 because he won across multiple Call of Duties and he won 8 events. Now at number 25 with 11 points via my rankings, we have Proofy. Proofy has 6 total wins in his career, but he also won across 4 Call of Duties and was arguably a top 5 player in both Black Ops 1 and MW3. Then at number 24 with 12 points is Enable. Enable has 9 total wins in his career. He won across 4 different Call of Duties and was one of the best players in Advanced Warfare. At number 23 and 22, these players tied with 13 points on the ranking, but obviously we had to divvy them up. So at number 23 is Celium. Celium has 6 total wins and 1 ring. Yes, he does have 1 ring, which is more than the person who is in front of him at 22, which is Zuma, but Zuma has 7 total wins. The way I delegated this was Zuma does have 1 more event win, and 3 of Celium's wins were online, whereas only 1 of Zuma's was online. So I also took the LAN experience a little bit higher into the rankings, which puts Zuma at 22 and Celium at 23. At number 21 with 14 points, we have Shotzi. Yes, Shotzi only has 4 wins in his career, and 3 of those were online, but he does have the 1 ring, as well as he does have an MVP. Not to mention, obviously with that MVP, Shotzi was the best player in Modern Warfare. Next up at number 20 with 15 points via the rankings, we have Merc. A lot of people might not know how good of a career Merc had, but he did end up with 12 total wins in his career, spanning across 5 different Call of Duties, as well as being one of the best players in MW3. Then at number 19 with 16 points, we have Big Timer. Similarly to Merc, Big Timer had a very underrated career because he retired so early before Call of Duty really picked up steam competitively. Big T had 9 event wins, as well as being a top player across 3 Call of Duties, those being MW2, Black Ops 1, and MW3. At number 18 and 17, both of these players tied with 17 points, but I took the one with more event wins to put at 1 higher. So at 18, we have Attach, and at 17, we have Parasite. Attach has 8 total wins in his career, one of those being a COD Champs ring. Attach has won across 5 different Call of Duties and was one of the best players in Advanced Warfare. Parasite, on the other hand, has 9 wins and 1 ring, but has won across 4 different Call of Duties, as well as being one of the best players in Black Ops 2. At number 16 and 15, once again, we have a tie of 2 players with 19 points. At number 16, we have Gunless. Gunless has 6 major wins spanning across 4 different titles. He was one of the best players in Infinite Warfare and World War II, as well as he's tied for the number 1 place in total MVPs with 4. And then right ahead of him at number 15, we have Slasher. Slasher has 1 more event win than Gunless with 7, as well as that spanning across 4 different titles. Slasher also has 1 MVP, as well as being one of the best players in Black Ops 3 and World War II. At 14, 13, and 12, we have 3 players tied for those spots. But coming in at number 14, we have Octane. Octane has 7 event wins spanning across 4 different Call of Duties. He's one of the best players in Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 4, and Modern Warfare, as well as he has 3 MVPs. Coming in at number 13, we have Arcides. Arcides has 9 total wins in his career across 4 Call of Duties, and 2 of those wins are COD Champs rings. And then right above him at number 12, another 2-ring legend is Apathy. Apathy also won across 4 different Call of Duties and was one of the best players in Black Ops 3. Now coming in at number 11 with 21 points, which is just outside of the top 10, we have TP. Teep has 16 wins, one of those being a ring, and that spans across 3 different Call of Duties. He was also one of the best players in Modern Warfare 2 and COD Ghosts. But now we get into the top 10 Call of Duty players of all time based on the numbers. Coming in at number 10, we have John. John has 8 wins in his career, one of those being a COD Champs ring. He's tied for the 3rd most wins across games with wins in 6 different Call of Duties. John was also one of the best players in Black Ops 3, as well as he won himself 2 MVPs in his career. Coming in at number 9, we have aBeZy. aBeZy has 8 wins in his career and 2 COD Champs rings. He's won across 3 different Call of Duties and been one of the best players in 3 different CODs, those being Black Ops 4, MW, and Cold War. aBeZy has also won himself 1 MVP. Coming in at number 8, we have JCap. Cap has 10 wins in his career with 2 COD Champs rings. Not to mention he's won across 6 different COD titles and was one of the best players in MW2 and Black Ops 1. Coming in at number 7, we have Mr. MVP, Simp. Simp, just like aBeZy, has 8 wins in his career and 2 COD Champs rings. Simp has won across 3 CODs, as well as being a top player in Black Ops 4, MW, and Cold War. And he's found himself with 2 MVPs thus far in his career. Coming in at number 6, just outside of the top 5, we have Patty P. Aches. With 17 wins in his career and 2 COD Champs rings. Aches has won across 5 different titles, as well as been a top player in 4 of those. Now we move into our top 5. Obviously, we all know who's in the top 5, but what order did it come out in? Coming in at number 5, we have Clayster. Clay has 19 wins in his career and 3 COD Champs rings. Clay has won across 6 different titles, as well as being one of the best players in Black Ops 2 and Advanced Warfare. Not to mention, Clay also has 1 MVP. And then coming in just ahead of him, we have Formal. Formal has 23 wins in his career with 1 COD Champs ring. Formal has won across 6 different COD titles, as well as he was one of the best players for 4 straight years between Ghost, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Infinite Warfare, where he was undoubtedly the best player in that game. Formal's also tied with Gunless for the most MVPs in COD history with 4. And then we move into the top 3. Just like I said, we all know who these are going to be, but what order are they going to be in? Drop a comment now just to see who you think it's going to be in what order. Coming in at number 3, we have the King, Scump, with 29 wins in his career and 1 COD Champs ring. Scump has won across the most different COD titles with 9, and he also leads the way with being one of the best players across 7 Call of Duty games, with only 1 official MVP that I could find though. And that brings us to our top 2, and at number 2, we have Karma. 24 wins and 3 rings, winning across 6 different COD titles, as well as being one of the best players in 2 of those. Karma also has 3 MVPs to his name. And at number 1, the GOAT of Call of Duty, everyone knows who this is. It is Crim6. Crimbot has 36 wins in his career, which is number 1, as well as being a part of that 3-ring club. He's won across 7 different Call of Duties, which is 2nd most all time, and he was one of the best players in the game in 2 of those. Crim also has 2 MVPs to his name. And that wraps it up. Just to show you the top 10 players based on their points, to show you the differential between these top 10 players, let's go through this real quick. So aBeZy at number 10 had 26 points, JCap had 27, Simp had 28. So 10, 9, and 8 were all separated by, 1 point each. Then at number 7, Aches with 33, so well ahead of Simp, but also well behind Clayster, who had 38. Formal just ahead of Clayster at 39, so only 1 ahead of him. Scump, who had 40, was only 1 ahead of Formal. And then Karma with 44 was just 1 behind Crim6, who had 45 points. So as you can see, there is a big disparity between, like 10, 9, and 8 compared to 7, and then compared to like the top 5. But there's also that difference where Crim and Karma are so far a bit above the rest when it comes to being a top player all time. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more CDL content. There's going to be a ton of awesome things coming out in the near future, and I really hope you did enjoy this. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful day.